Welcome back. Clearing your plate doesn't help starving kids. Something we heard as kids, but we might not have considered until recently, or when you're trying to lose weight, is that you have to finish your plate and eat all of your food, or some starving people in Africa or India or anywhere won't get the food that they need. And so, in this video, I want to talk about why we have to pick stories about food that help us take confident ownership of our lives instead of feeling guilty or making choices that no longer support our goals. Welcome. My name is Reggie. I'm the founder of Fit for Freelance, where I build adaptive business leaders through compassionate health coaching. If you want to love your body and feel confident again, the Health Confidence Club is the compassionate way to keep your promises to yourself and let your health support your life. That's linked below. So, when you hear these stories about finish your food because there's starving kids in a lot of places, unfortunately. And what we want to do is get to the bottom of how this affects you and your choices in the way that they affect your life. Okay, so what's going on? Usually you hear this, you think this, you have to finish your plate, and you notice that you probably feel guilty or ungrateful or something like inadequate if you don't finish all the food that you've put on your plate. Click like if this is something you can relate to. So, what we want to do in this video is find more effective ways to show gratitude for what you have and some strategies to consider, some things to think about when it comes to, this expression, eat your food because other people need it, right? So, the big thing, grateful. If you don't feel grateful, eating all your food isn't a way to feel grateful. You can be more thankful. You can say your blessings. You can consider your food system. You can do other things, say thanks to people, just be glad that you have it. All these things are really good ways to be grateful for food without actually ingesting it and increasing whatever foods that you're taking. Okay, another thing I want to look at here. How much does personally ingesting extra calories help anyone? And this is the thing that people just forget. If you don't think about this and you just go by this rule that you used to have to, get away from your parents or whatever, then you're gonna run into problems. So how much does ingesting extra calories help anyone? If you think about it for a little bit, it's not. And instead, you can realize that taking in extra foods, finishing your plate, it can diminish your quality of life. It contribute to weight gain, increase your risk of chronic disease, and increase your healthcare costs. Especially if you're eating way too many extra calories from foods, that weight gain can lead to increased risk of high cholesterol or diabetes, high blood pressure, and then you can have acute things happen like heart attack or stroke based on your inability to manage what you're eating based on rules that you had as a kid, which would be tragic. Other things we want to look at: quality of life, how it affects your confidence, self esteem, productivity, energy, and impact. So, if you are gaining a lot of weight from constantly clearing your plates, then you aren't going to feel as good as you could if you were managing your portion sizes, if you're only eating what you wanted to eat. So, think about this instead of just being like, oh no, there's a starving kid somewhere. Like, just think about how eating more affects your own life and what you're doing. I need you to take ownership of that. It's core value number one at Fit for Freelance. So leave a comment if that gives you some food for thought, some things to think about. All right. Other things that happen when you eat too much from trying to clear your plate, you can end up spending money on supplements, some of those weight loss supplements, things you don't understand, or, spending money on healthcare costs, appointments, extra stuff, instead of donating that money in a way that can actually serve the people that you're imagining that you're helping. All right. We have to look at this at a bigger picture. And so, another thing that you might not consider is that food waste is a systemic problem. It comes from like farming practices, how the foods are harvested, which foods are picked and selected for stores. There's a whole lot of food waste that goes on. And whatever food that you decide to eat, extra food to clear your plate, is like such a small part of the overall food waste, like minuscule. It's kind of like people who are, switching to sustainable straws, but there's still like, people going on huge cruises and tons of air traffic, right? That little straw isn't going to make a huge impact in the environment overall. So here are some tips I have for you. 3 tips to help you get over this so you don't feel like you have to clear your plate. One, be excellent in your food purchase and storage. Right? When you buy foods that you know you're going to be able to use or save before they expire. That way you don't have more pressure to put them on your plate and eat them because that end result is not what you want. Also, when it comes to storage, if you need to freeze foods in advance versus just letting them sit in the fridge and prepping them last minute, then that's going to help a lot. The second tip I have: only serve portion sizes likely to be eaten. So this is a big thing, especially if you have kids and you are feeding them. Like, don't make them feel pressured to finish their plate. Only serve them a portion size that they're likely to eat. These habits that we learn as children have lasting impact on our food culture or our quality of life. And if we don't have time to assess that, either for ourselves or for our family, then we're going to have health challenges. And you're seeing this a lot in my experience with public health too. So only serve portion sizes likely to be eaten. That way you don't feel like you have to clear your plate. The third tip I have: if you're concerned about starving children, volunteer or donate to food pantries and foundations. I put a link below to Feeding America. That's a really effective way to solve that without eating more food, because it's like an effective consequence for what you're trying to do, what you're trying to accomplish. All right, so those are some strategies I have for you. Don't worry about trying to clear your plate. What we have to do is look at food culture, the things that we learn from where we grew up, right? That were not necessarily selected by us. We have to take those things and instead look at what we want to support the healthy, fulfilling life of our dreams. What's going to help us take confident ownership of our own path to freedom and fitness? And it starts with just thinking about it a little bit more. So, clearing your plate doesn't help starving kids. We have some tips for you to do that here. And if you are looking for, ways to know how to eat guilt-free sustainably that boosts your confidence and energy so you lead the healthy, fulfilling life of your dreams, the Health Confidence Club is the most sustainable way to do that. That's linked below. It's based on what you want for yourself instead of what you had to do to get past dinner with your parents or not be grounded or have dessert. All right. So that's today's message. Next, you can watch 5 big weight loss myths exposed by a guilt-free health coach. I'll put that right here. As always, keep practicing. Peace.